Hey, what's up YouTube? So yesterday on stream, I spent the full day farming Betrayal safe houses for Aceling, and I was selling the Aceling for around 2.5 to 3 exalts on the TFT Discord. In addition, I was also getting Cinder Swallow earn drops. However, the profit seems to be like pretty inconsistent at times. It is kind of hard to get Aceling in research. And if Aceling is not in research and is actually a leader of another safe house, it becomes almost impossible. And if Asley is the research leader, then you would have to get her out. So overall, it seems like more of a strategy that you should use when you have the June missions built up, and then you'll go over to Haywork Hamlet and Valdo's Rest to convert those missions into getting the Katarina fight. And the Katarina fight can drop like the big ticket items are Cinder Swallow Urn, which goes for around 2x, and Cane of Ultimac, or whatever the new Cane is, the staff, and that one goes for around like zero point 0.8 exalts or something. So in this video, I wanted to go over the mechanics of Spark, namely why duration and projectile speed is so important. And then I wanted to touch on movement skills for this build. Since on this build, we only usually can afford to use one movement link, so that the skill that we end up choosing becomes very important. And there's actually a huge discrepancy, in my opinion, between like Flame Dash or Smoke Mine or Leap Slam. So let's first talk about the gear and let's see what upgrades I've made in the past day. Okay, so for the gear overview, let's see. I don't think I really got that many big upgrades yesterday because I spent most of the time farming currency and selling items, but we still have the same nebulous. This is still a double damage nebulous, and let's see how much this actually is. I actually need to be dividing this a little bit more. The double damage nebulous currently is 25x. Oh, 20-ish X. Yeah, I bought this for 10x. At 10x, I feel like it's a pretty good upgrade, but at 25, you might be able to find better pieces. Like, I know Awakened Spell Echo is 15 exalts, and it's actually a better upgrade than this, because it's actually more damage. Because you actually have to consider that another Nebulous could also have multi and be kind of like high damage too. So we still have the same crown. I actually found out that you can't use an Aceling Unveil Exalt when you have crafted mods, so I wanted to actually use an Aceling Exalt on this, but I would have to take off the crafted mod and risk that it could have a suffix. It could be a suffix unveil. And then if it's a suffix unveil, then yeah, that would not be very good. But I might still do it later on. We'll see. And this amulet, I don't know if I actually crafted this amulet and showed you to you guys. But basically I recrafted it with essences. So I got T1 or T3 ES, but I put the defense catalyst on it. And then I crafted on projectile speed and projectile damage instead of percent ES. At this point, I truly believe that like 4.2, 4.5k-ish is enough ES to survive most things. So projectile speed will increase my map clear speed by a lot. And it's just really hard to fit in projectile speed on our build because there's no nodes that we can actually get for it on the tree. So we will have to get it on the amulet and the gem, and I'll show you what I mean by that later. Now the Prism Guardian was still stuck on this one. We can't get a Grace Prism Guardian. There's still only one up for 50 exalts. Call of the Brotherhoods are the same thing. I really want to get another Call of the Brotherhood with an aura on it so that I can get an extra gem slot, but it just seems like it's impossible at the moment. Shavs, I got this +2 Shavs with 4% ES. Now this +2 Shavs is, I think I bought it for 20 exalts, and that's about right. Again, it's another upgrade that's around like 10% more damage for 20 exalts, so it's actually pretty good. It's actually less than 20 exalts because you can consider you can sell your old 6-link Shavs for like 7 exalts, so that makes the total upgrade around like 13 exalts, which is not bad value for 10% more damage. Now that's like what you guys should look for is how much damage am I getting out of this upgrade for how much it costs. So like generally if you buy a Grace Shield for 50 exalts, you could have gone like 20 to 30% more damage by buying a double damage scepter, a +2 Shavs, and an Awakened Spell Echo. So it's probably not worth spending that much money on something like that. And same goes for like a 3 passive point voices. Like 2 passive points will not give you the same amount of damage as an Awakened Spell Echo or double damage scepter. And then I bought this belt. I'm not sure if I had it in the last video, but this is a Torrent Reclamation belt. This belt I feel like is BIS. It's better than Headhunter as long as you're not running beyond maps. What this belt does is it summons this little Harbinger, and you can see that it gives you a buff, the Harbinger, once it's summoned. So this buff is pretty much up all the time. And yeah, you see a buff up now after it's summoned, and it gives you like 9 seconds of 20% action speed, and it's pretty much as identical to Tailwind. And if you have Tailwind boots, it stacks. So 20% action speed means that all your actions are 20% faster, and you're pretty much doing 20% more damage, and you're moving 20% faster. So you can see there's a short period of time where the buff is not up, but it's pretty much up like 80-90% of the time. Now for corruptions, we have skill effect duration and zealotry. I think the best corruptions for this belt are skill effect duration, crit multi during flask effect, and move speed during flask effect. And so those are the ones that you want to look out for. And next we have this pair of gloves. I'm considering maybe one day switching to Hands of the High Templar, but it's kind of far in the future still because I have a +4 pair. So if I could get my hands on a +6 with LE weakness or +6 with spell crit, Hands of the High Templar, I would probably consider swapping to it as long as it is not like 100 exalts. But basically that's it for the gear, and the flasks are still the same. I think I use the Betrayal board to get 24% on a Bottle of Faith. And the jewels are still pretty much the same. I'm still waiting to use Aug, Chaos, or Reforge Reforge suffix while keeping prefixes on these. And these ones here, this one is kind of completed. This one needs Aug Chaos for Chaos Res. So pretty much we'll be able to fix our Chaos Resist by Aug Chaosing these jewels, and it should be pretty good. So each one of these jewels will probably end up giving us like a bunch of Chaos Res. So they could give you like 6 times, like 30 Chaos for one jewel. So it's like a full item's worth of Chaos Res. And that's pretty much for the gear. Not many upgrades, but a lot of potential upgrades in the future, especially if we decide to craft the boots. Now the boots are something that I really want to craft because I want to get more Tailwind and more move speed with Onslaught. So it should be it's probably going to be my next upgrade, and I'm going to show you how to make the pair of boots in the next or coming videos. So now I pretty much want to go over why Spark is the best skill in the game for a lot of content, and why I choose to use Spark for as my main skill, and how to scale Spark with projectile speed and what's it called? Skill duration. So you can see here I've actually redone my links to my shavs to have Awakened Copen, Arcane Surge, Spell Echo, Spark, Inspiration, and Divergent faster projectiles. Now faster projectiles gives me 81% increased projectile speed, and Divergent gives an extra 10% projectile speed. So 81% is pretty crazy. So between this and my new neck enchant, I'm at, what's it called? Where is it at? Miscellaneous. 146% prod speed. So you can see what it looks like and how fast the projectiles travel out. When I take out the gem, it doesn't go as far. I mean, it's pretty noticeable. With the gem, you can see it travels further. So that means on like these sparks can travel further. It means it can bounce more and hit the same mob over and over again. So I'm gonna go read over some spark mechanics. So the spark duration determines how long sparks will persist, and is increased by the skill duration and support. So that's actually the main reason why we run the Malevolence aura, so that our spark lasts longer. So in game we have Malevolence on, right? So our spark, it says duration is 3.24 seconds in this sea of text. We turn off Malevolence, our spark duration is only 2.02 seconds. So that's why I say like Malevolence is almost a mandatory aura in order to play Spark. So the importance of the duration is that this line over here, or this line, a single cast of Spark can hit an enemy once every 0.66 seconds. Keep in mind this is per cast, not per projectile. So without any increase in duration, a single cast can hit an enemy thrice with the base duration of 2 seconds. So that means each one of your casts can hit an enemy 3 times in 2 seconds, or 3 times if your duration is 2 seconds. So if your duration is 6 seconds or 4 seconds, that means you can hit the enemy 6 times with one cast. So you're pretty much doubling your damage as long as you're pre-casting the spark before the boss fight. And the main thing is projectile speed also makes it more likely that the enemy will be hit by the max amount of times, which is 3 times in 2 seconds. So in a slightly bigger arena, projectile speed is huge for reaching the hit cap. That's why like when you're playing in a small enclosed arena, the enemy will seem like it dies super fast even without projectile speed, because the enemy is getting hit by the maximum amount of times. So what projectile speed allows us to do is hit the enemy the maximum amount of times per cast of spark for your duration, without like being in a tiny ass arena. So that is exactly how you are able to utilize projectile duration and speed in order to scale your damage by more than just like damage multipliers. And it's actually very underlooked, but projectile speed is probably one of the most important things for clear speed, because spark is not exactly the best clear skill, but with projectile speed it becomes miles better than before, along with duration. And that's why when you're delving, projectile speed and duration is pretty much everything, because you want to cover the full arena with sparks so that as soon as the mob spawns, it gets frozen and dies. So I hope that it helps you out on understanding why I use faster projectiles and why Malevolence Aura is important, and why getting the belt enchant for skill effect duration is pretty huge. So you see it goes from 2.96 to 3.24 seconds. So make sure to get projectile speed and duration. Now next I wanted to go over some movement skills. So we don't really have that many movement skills to choose from, or we do have a lot, but there's not really that many. So some of the big ones that people use are dash, flame dash, leap slam, smoke mine, and I don't think anyone uses whirling blades, or you can't even use whirling blades. So basically after a lot of testing, it turns out that smoke mine is probably the best overall movement skill. And why is that, you might ask? So flame dash is undoubtedly the best movement skill for bossing because it comes out instantly. But the problem with flame dash in maps is that you can't move across the map really fast, because you use like flame dash once or twice or 3 times in a row, you'll run out of charges and you'll just be stuck walking really slowly. Now smoke mine comes out almost just as fast as flame dash, but the trick is that it's a 2-button sequence, but you can minimize it to 1 button if you use the detonate mines on your left click. So you just throw out the smoke mine, and then you're moving already in that direction because you have left click held down. Then you'll just instantly TP there, and it's really fast. But you have to have detonate mine on left click. You could technically also detonate manually with D or whatever it's bound to, but it's a lot slower unless you're like just spamming the button. The important thing to note is if you actually move with right click, let's say you move with right click, right? Some people play MOBAs and that's what the default move is right click. Then it actually will not do it. So you'll actually have to relearn, because you actually can't move at all if you have right click bound to detonate mines, unlike left click. So that's just something to keep in mind if you're wondering like, why can't I do this and I move with right click instead of left click. So basically smoke mine is OP because it creates this cloud on the ground that makes it so that enemies are less likely to hit you, and it also gives you a movement speed buff after using it. So in between the downtime of smoke mine, you'll be running. Let's see, how much faster do you run? So where's smoke mine? So divergent smoke mine, it gives you 29% increased movement speed, which is pretty much like having a quicksilver flask. And also the alternate quality of smoke mine, which is divergent smoke mine, grants you 10% increased attacking cast speed. So you're also casting faster after you use smoke mine. So overall, this is the best ability. I know a lot of people really like the ability now. They swapped over from flame dash or like leap slam or shield charge, and it's definitely one of the best abilities in my opinion for overall playing. It'll make your map speed faster. Like shield charge might be faster for getting through a straight line, but shield charge can't go over ledges like smoke mine and leap slam can. And smoke mine also doesn't get slowed down if your movement speed is impaired. So that's just something to keep in mind. So overall, if you're still using the other movement skills, probably consider dropping it, swapping it over to smoke mine. It'll make you faster, and it will make you more survivable with the smoke cloud. and it'll give you some extra damage with the attack and cast speed on the alternate quality. And yeah, so that's about it for the movement skills. Now I just wanted to show everyone some quick stream highlights. I got a Paradoxica drop the other day. I forgot to include it in my last video. And then I wanted to show you an Uber Elder fight. I finished the Uber Elder fight. I think I had a few deaths, unfortunately. And it was mainly all to using Leap Slam. You can see in one of the deaths in the clip that I tried to Leap Slam out of something, but my movement speed was impaired, and I literally slow-mo dunked it and died in the middle of my leap animation. So anyhow, hope you enjoyed the clips, and here it goes.
Interloper. But a fly does not feed a spice. Was not in the plan. You will only garner from me that.
Dude, what is this thing on me? Dude, I literally cannot move with Leap Slam. There's some tentacles attached to me. I also got the worst one too. How do people even boss a Leap Slam? Oh, this is like unusable skill, by the way, for boss 8 with the vine thing from Maven. I mean, he tried to jump out, but alas, it was not to be. It looks insanely troll. Yeah, I actually failed a lot of fears at the beginning because I was really stubborn and I wanted to use shield charge for bossing. But and then my friend got mad at me for doing that, so I had to swap to flame dash. And the rip, no, watch the side. Wait, does it drop already? I forgot. I'm gonna guess a mark of the Shaper Ring.